Yo, this is your man, Yung Squalla. Before we start the show, I would like to give a brief thanks to all my viewers and my listeners. I appreciate you. Please keep tuning in with me. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, which you can all find those in the description of each and every episode. Once again, thanks a lot and enjoy the show. Here we go.
Free socks.
Yo, what's good, everybody? This is your man, Yung Squalla, with another Always Everything on Yung Squalla podcast. And today we're going to be talking about the traumas and hip hop and how it affects hip hop and in that topic range. So if I could get my guests to introduce themselves, whoever wants to go first.
What's going on? I go by the name of Smooth, um, podcast host of Real Conversations podcast. I got my own brand, Boss Status Worldwide. I came to show some love to the show, and I appreciate y'all for having me on.
Definitely appreciate you, brother. Whoever
My name
wants.
is Amber. I'm in Ohio. And right now I'm an activist and educator, primarily focusing on Black and brown issues and women issues.
Okay.
All right, and I am the host with the most, the face that runs the place. I am the producer, host, and owner of the Unwrap Mind podcast, Hezekiah Grice.
Okay. And how you doing?
Hey, I'm sorry.
Are you
I was
good?
having technical difficulties.
No, you good. If you can introduce yourself, we are recording right now.
Okay. So hi, my name is Toya Dawkins. I am the host of the Peep Show podcast. I'm a spoken word artist, creative writing teacher. It's just I love hip hop background. My grandfather was one of the first Black DJs in my hometown. Just music just runs throughout my blood. So I'm excited to be here.
Cool. Where you from?
Originally Springfield, Massachusetts, but I was raised in Atlanta. So
That's what's up. So today's topic, we're gonna be discussing the traumas of hip hop. I'm about to want to read it verbatim. The roles of hip hop in navigating trauma. We're gonna discuss how hip hop can be a therapeutic tool for individuals and urban communities navigating trauma and adversity. So I have prepared questions for y'all. And question number one is, when it comes to hip hop's fusion of rhythm and poetry, do you think it genuinely creates a unique emotional landscape for people navigating trauma in the diverse urban environments? What is your take on the global impact? And whoever wants to go first, y'all can just speak freely.
I'll take this one. I definitely think it is an outlet for those of us or those of them who have experienced these things, can't afford therapists, don't know how to go to therapy, don't know how to talk about it. They are given an avenue to put this to music and to, one, make some money off of the trauma they've been through, as bad or as good as that could seem. And it also paints a bigger picture worldwide of what we have experienced in our communities forever, but other people don't see. And it paints our true picture as opposed to, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, but I'm going to say how I think it, opposed to the white image of it, the Hollywood image of it, the softened up news image of it. It portrays what we give unfiltered, or as unfiltered as we can, as we go through these record and media companies to put that out there.
Okay. Who want to go
I
next?
definitely would agree. It's in our blood. It's in our nature. We're creative people. We're very expressive, and it's within our boundaries to be able to do and be able to use this way of speaking and interacting and engaging in a way that only we can do.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. I want to first say like melanated people, we all know like we created pretty much all genres of music. So hip hop is just like a more updated version for the urban culture, to get off like their emotions and spread wisdom and knowledge across the world. But nowadays it's kind of more used. I feel like hip hop, or mainstream hip hop, is kind of used more against us to paint a certain narrative
Yeah.
that don't fit all of us.
Most definitely, they have to utilize the tool that was helping us to make sure that we were healed, being able to express ourselves. Because I also write and teach from a psychosomatic standpoint. That was a way for us to not keep stagnant energy within our bodies. And then of course, we know that hip hop isn't just the actual music; it's dance, it's some of everything. So that was a way of expressing, so that way we were healthy on and just in every single aspect of our lives. So of course they would want to weaponize it, so that way we're not healthy, that we have all of these other issues and things like that. You would weaponize whatever is going to keep a people at a certain frequency.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I agree with basically what all of y'all said actually. Because my opinion on the topic is I do believe it can be used as an outlet for people's trauma, but I also believe that it's kind of making is somebody else's trauma might look good to another party that hasn't experienced. That's what I say that. So it creates unrealistic opinions in some people. So that's my take on that question. So we're gonna dive into controversy a little bit. So in your opinion, does some hip hop sometimes walk a thin line between authentically depicting trauma and unintentionally romanticizing it? How do you see this influencing emotional responses across different cultures?
I would definitely say yes. I would say first thing that comes to mind is this new generation or era of music. Everything is bay this, bay that, codependent, needing somebody without really needing somebody.
Yeah.
And it so then in your mind all you see is couples and happiness. You don't see the turmoil. You don't see what really goes on behind closed doors and after hours and things like that. All you want is the good stuff. All you want is the highlight. Um, and the reality of it, when it comes time to sitting in your own doo-doo, the consequences of it, that's what we as a people, as a culture, don't really know how to do. So I think that's the harmful part.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Like from all standpoints of hip hop, from like she said, bay this, bay that, but I'm talking more of a standpoint of like hip hop used to be like from real instances and real situations, but now I feel like it's more propaganda and it's more like ways to just put out a bad narrative. Like I'm saying, like globally, like even from the programming on TV to the radio to the movies, etc., etc. They put billions of dollars to have us or the youth feeling like if I'm not this killer or murderer, or daughters like if I'm not Kim Kardashian or my ass ain't out, I'm
Mm.
never gonna be at a successful standpoint.
I totally agree so far with everybody said. I'm kind of licking my chops at this one. I wanted to go last because what you're saying is absolutely right, but it goes into, and I hate to take this to a almost different topic, culture vultures. But it goes into one of my biggest things. All culture vultures ain't white.
Hell
Some of
no.
our biggest culture vultures are black people. Because why? You got a King Vaughn out there who maybe living that drill life, or you got NWA who's fucked the police. You got a kid who ain't been, the only pie he been there is Betty Crocker. And all of a sudden he on the block like he slinging pies and he got to have a 45 in his waist. And this kid ain't never seen that shit. The closest he been to prison is Oz. And he's culture vulture. He's a culture vulture, honestly. and he's living a life he hasn't experienced or lived or vicariously through music. So when everybody see him, he's portraying something he's heard 10 minutes ago on the radio. So
you're not referring to any specific culture, or you just referring to?
I'm referring to like all the cultures, even when you see that love, that bay, people are taking that. You know, like all relationships have problems. But if all you want to take from that is just, I gotta all of a sudden everybody, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory manner, everybody queens. How you doing, queen? Blessing, queen. She wasn't queen 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago, she was Alfreda. And all of a sudden, you done drove in your car. You done heard queen 3 times. Hey, blessing, queen. Peace to you, king. Peace, God. Peace. You can't even give mathematics. You don't know today's mathematics, but all of a sudden, you 5%. It's culture vulture. Culture vultures are us. And we don't even recognize it because we assume because we're Black, we can do that.
So I don't want to kind of get off topic, but I in my opinion, it relates. So when we're talking about trauma and expressing trauma through the music, there are certain rappers and musicians that, in my opinion, they are not. They say that they're rapping about their struggle. They say that they're rapping about their life, but once you listen to the music, it's not. It's not like that. So I'm gonna mention an artist in specific because he just did something crazy. I'm gonna talk about Lil Nas X.
Yeah.
So I'm not even gonna talk about the way he lives his life. That's not my business. But what he did recently, he dressed himself up like a Jesus type character and was basically perverting the image of Jesus. And he used his music, his platform to do that. So,
but once again, who funding Lil Nas X?
I honestly don't know who he is signed with. Who is funding Lil Nas? I'm not sure. I'm about to Google it.
And this is the thing, like, because and I'm gonna reveal my age at this point because I'm so unfamiliar with Lil Nas X outside of Old Town Road. The thing is, I can't say for a fact he does not live that way. You know, the
He
good
signed
thing
to
about hip-hop,
Columbia Records is his label.
Yeah,
so that's Tommy Mottola, right? If I'm mistaken. The good thing about hip-hop and music in general, it gives you the chance to express yourself in a creative manner. Is that creative manner going to be controversial, especially Lil Nas X when he's perverting Jesus, where a large percentage of the population are Jesus followers?
Exactly.
You know, and to, you know, that is, you know, is there a trauma behind that? We don't know. It may just be his selling gimmick, but we don't know because and if anybody has on here, please say, I've never heard him. I've heard him say he worshiped the devil or whatever, whatnot. But I also seen a tweet where he said he divorced the devil recently, so he back on Jesus. It read across my mind like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. It just happened to click me. But I don't think I've ever really heard him say he hate Jesus or hate God. I really think he's just doing something to keep him in the news because he's been gay. He's been like trying to get the Nikes with the blood in them. He has to do something to keep him in the news because at most he's probably a mid artist, if he's even mid when it comes to music. I don't know. I don't listen to it.
Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I want to chime in. I feel like I had did a podcast not too long today, a couple hours ago, speaking on that. I feel like Lil Nas X, like he just a offspring of the next, you know, people that's trading their moral values and principles for $1. Like they start out so sweet and innocent, but then give them like 2 albums in, they with the bullshit. Like let's just be real.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It never fails. Like we done seen the best of them.
But I remember in the beginning, Lil Nas ain't even come out as gay until like later on. I'm one who don't believe he really gay.
All right, and I don't know how I got so much Lil Nas information. I'm not a fan, I promise y'all.
Oh no,
I promise.
it's cool.
But I did see an old clip of him on Maury where he was with another dude and they was with the girl and he was like, yeah, me and this dude lovers. So that clip exists of Lil Nas X being on Maury where he was gay back then, you know.
Well, hey, I never
So
know.
he been gay for a long time, or at least portraying gay. That seemed to be his niche.
Well,
once again, like that shit sell. Let's be real.
And you're right. I mean, I can't doubt it because I don't know him. So I'm not doubting it or defending, but I know the gay thing is his niche. I think that's his controversial piece because for most rappers, they don't want you to be homosexual in that arena. They want you to be heterosexual. So for him to buck it and say, I'm gonna be homosexual, I think that's his niche. I think I totally agree with you, Smooth. I think you're absolutely right.
I say all of that to say that Lil Nas and other artists like him are using other people's trauma to make their money. If that makes sense. They're evoking emotional responses in people.
I agree.
In order to prosper.
Yes.
I don't think that's right to use hip hop in that manner. Because at that point, you're taking advantage of your own people, in my opinion.
My biggest thing is all adults have the right to do what they want to do and do how they feel and whatever. But the main targets of these so-called artists that be having these provocative and controversial images and songs be targeted to the kids. That's what I don't respect. Like I don't feel that shit at all, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating for me because it's a lot of derogatoriness towards Black women in general, within hip hop. And then, you know, we have the ones like the R. Kelly and the P. Diddy's that kind of make us choose and uncomfortable. And then we don't have people or even males who pick a side when it comes to cases, like people who just stand back, which doesn't help the movement either, because sometimes, like you said, it's trauma triggering. We don't know what people are going through. And some of this music, some of our music may be even encouraging, supporting, saying it's okay without saying anything. Just by simply reciting the music, sometimes it can be saying, I agree with what they're saying. It can be harmful for our younger generation who can learn this music like that, and it soaks into them, and they don't even know what they're saying literally.
Oh man,
they're just memorizing it, and that's like creating an army of kids, like you said, who are reciting and memorizing this music, may not come from these areas and neighborhoods and know this music and this lifestyle, right? But they fantasize it, and they see the airplanes in the music videos, and they see the wild animals, and they see the women and this, that, and the third, and they become it. So are we starting to create this within ourselves, these issues?
I think so.
I think so as well, because one of the conversations I was having recently with the friend. First off, we don't even understand like what was the true purpose of music in the first place. You know what I mean? Like my background, my grandma is actually a Jew. You know, there's a whole conversation about the Jewish people that be, you know, them not truly being Jewish. Well, when you look at the suffix, it's ish. It's not the true attribute of the thing. It's a portion of it. It has the likeness of it, but it's not the actual thing. But when I was younger, the reason why we were taught some of the songs that we were taught in my grandmother's church, it was to subconsciously put things into our mind. And the more that you sing it, we know that you actually become it. That's what I was taught when I was younger. We have a lot of people that don't understand that that's the influence of music. So it's the propaganda. We're going to have you listen to this over and over again. You're going to actually start to move in this kind of way. And we don't understand, like, it doesn't matter what genre it is. If we're listening to it and we're consistently allowing our kids to listen to it, that's actually what they're becoming. You know what I mean? And so until we actually start to mind our gates, not just, you know, our eye gates and what we're eating, we have to pay attention to what we listen to, because that's directly related to our minds and how we're going to move from here on out. So yes, we are definitely creating the very thing that we don't want, and we have to be mindful. The reason why they're doing it with children is because from 0 to 7, That's how you're programmed. If we can get you when you're little, this is how you're going to be when you're older. You know what I mean? And it's better to, what did they say? It's better to work with the children, to have a solid mind as a child than have to deal with a broken man. So we have to be mindful of the children, what we're allowing them to listen to, what we're allowing them to press into, just musically, just as a whole.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I believe that a lot of the music, not even just the music, programs on TV that's related to hip hop, podcasts, a lot of the stuff is drama centered and gossip centered. And I feel like we're teaching the kids to be somewhat of a victim.
Yeah.
Somewhat of a to gain a victim type mentality. I don't know if I'm saying it how it's in my brain, but if you like you said, you tell a kid something enough, they're going to start to absorb it. They're going to become it. So once you keep telling the kid, we're this, we got to spin the block. We got all these ops. We got to do this because we're black people in the hood. A lot of people not even in the hood, and they feel like they black people in the hood.
I mean, it boils down and I hope I pronounce your name right. Is it, how do you pronounce your name, Ms. Dawkins?
It's Toya. It's just spelled
Toya.
different.
Okay. Like Toya just said, you are what you eat. If I mean, I grew up neck and neck with hip hop. When hip hop came, when Melly Mel said broken glass everywhere, people pissing on the steps, I remember where I was standing when I first heard that song. I ate, consumed, and even to this day, I live hip hop and I'm damn near 50. I'm 49 years old. I'll be 50 in 2 months. I've literally grown up neck and neck with hip hop. So I've consumed it. It has raised me. It has to a degree programmed a lot of my thinking. I came up with the hip hop, hippie to the bebop, to fuck the police, a bitch is a bitch, fight the power, take that from Diddy. I watched all those phases. I was really conscious about what phases I put in my body because I loved the Brand Nubians. I loved the X-Clan. I loved Public Enemy. To this day, I've never listened to an MC Hammer song. Probably one of the few people who can say that. To this day, never listened to a whole song. So you have to be conscious of what you're feeding yourself, even through your ears, because what we listen to, our kids don't think is good. But if we constantly listen to it, you'll be surprised what they memorize. Because I remember my mom listening to Elvis and Kiss all the time. You'll be surprised how many times I say, hey, Alexa, play such and such by Elvis, because it's programmed in my subconscious. So we have to make sure we're feeding them what we want them to get.
I get you. So we basically kind of just covered it, but I'm gonna ask the question anyway because I have it written down. Do y'all believe the explicit images and vivid language are a way that the artists is an intense way that the artist is conveying their traumas and their ties to their traumas in their past life? Or is it like strictly what Smooth says? Is it business, propaganda, or is the artist really trying to express something in whatever in their music, in their projects? Because I just recently heard Sexy Red. She was on the interview. She said everybody boxes her in and they say she only talks about sex and being ratchet. And she said she doesn't. She said her music is way deeper than that. And from what I've heard, it's not deep to me, but that she said is deeper than that.
I think the imagery is for sale. I definitely think that they're selling us, they're selling the imagery because no one's listening to the words. But I'm human. I love the way Meg Thee Stallion look. Absolutely love it. She can go in there and recite the first 17 pages of the phone book. I probably will watch the video 4 times with the volume down. I remember watching Lil Kim's video, the one with Cisco was singing in the background with the volume down, because I wasn't paying attention to the song. So the sex and the imagery does sell. We don't care about the song. We'll let the imagery get us. And then sometime we'll go back and listen to the song. Because it is. I mean, I don't know a red-blooded man who don't like boobs. I don't. And you put him in a video and go abacadabra for 15 minutes, we ain't hearing abacadabra. We don't care to hear it. So yeah, the imagery is what they selling. Then the damage comes later.
I feel like that's how we get caught, though. That's what lulls us to sleep. We're so focused on the beat sounds good. Oh, this person sounds good. And they know that. That's part of their propaganda. It's just like they're not really listening to, but there's a major difference when you can go into, and I'm just going to use an open mic because that's where I frequent the most. Going to an open mic and there could be the beat is okay, but then when it's like the proper type of lyricism and the power, because this person knows exactly who they are, it can be like, man, screw the beat. What did you just say? And then they'll have you to rewind. That's how you know the power of an artist. Not to toot my own horn, but I've had a couple friends say, like, even with my written poetry, it's just like, no, you need to call me so I can hear it. I need to hear it because it's a certain delivery. I went into a club. I had no idea it was a club. They asked me to come in and do a performance. I thought it was a cafe, but they had rearranged it. The music was so loud, and they were asking everyone to like calm down so you can hear the artist. But I guess it was my tone. The moment that I hit the mic and people heard me, the music immediately they brought it all the way down, and everyone was quiet. When we have artists that truly have a message, they know their power and they're willing to deliver the authenticity. They don't care what anybody else has to say about what it is that they really had go on with their life. When they truly are authentic with their language and their delivery, you can't stop anybody. Like, that's what changes hearts and minds and starts healing in a community, is when you have authenticity. But we got all of these people who are afraid to be authentic whenever they're delivering music, or they're afraid of what might happen to them if they do decide to speak truth in music. And so there's this space of, I would rather deliver emptiness and get some of the love that I need, or I feel that I need through speaking on a mic, than delivering my authentic self and loving myself on that mic and allowing other people to love themselves through what it is that I'm delivering, than the emptiness. And that's where I have an issue.
So I got a question. Do
Do
y'all believe that, I'm gonna focus on the female rappers? So it's like, you see how they dress nowadays and how they act and how they portray themselves, and they are representing a portion of Black women. So do you believe that them doing that is an expression of some trauma that they may have went through, or is it once again strictly for sale? Is
I
there
think it's both. You have to think about it. People start to sell their souls. Everybody has a price. We just figured out what theirs is. The Lil Nas and things. We've just figured out their price by how far left, far right they're willing to go for notoriety and fame. But everybody has a price. But you have to stick with those people who have that moral compass to be the leaders, and you'll weed that out.
I think it's both. It's a trickle-down effect. I don't know if any of y'all remember Hoes with Attitudes. Hoes with Attitudes kicked in the door for like Trina, Little
I
Kim,
never heard
Foxy
of
Brown,
Hoes
kicked
with
in the door for
Attitude.
Mercedes, who was
Okay.
now with Master P, who kicks in the door for, what we have now. And the thing is, at some point, we as consumers bought those records, listened to those records, once again, like Toya said, fed those records to our kids. That generation of kids raised a generation of kids on that imagery, on that sound. And today we have our sexy reds. We have our Suki with the good coochie out there making them horrible ass songs with the imagery that none of us want to see. Like, none of us want to see that. But
hold on though. I feel like the problem now more than ever is not enough. It's not a 360. It's just a sexy red, a lotto. What happened to the Lauryn Hills,
I
Tony
agree.
Braxton.
I got you.
Like, at the same time, it's all good because everybody don't want to be conscious. We just gotta face it. Some people just want the bullshit.
And
but
Smooth,
what about the people that don't?
Smooth, you right.
That's all I'm saying.
And Smooth, you absolutely right. Meg Thee Stallion and Rhapsody both dropped singles on the exact same day, singles and videos on the exact same day. They dropped their videos. Meg
Well,
Thee
you know,
Stallion
Meg Thee
was,
Stallion. Yeah, well, I say Meg Thee Stallion had to be more. Yeah.
she was racking and killing because nobody was listening to Rhapsody. Rhapsody, for me, was verbally blazing. Visually, people was attracted to what Meg Thee Stallion's video was, which to me, it was kind of crazy because she was
So
coming out of Snake's mouth.
what video
It was
was
the
this with
Cobra
Megan Thee
song.
Stallion? The Cobra.
Huh? Yeah. She
Oh,
was
no.
coming out the Snake's mouth, which is to me, I was like, I don't even want to see this. I listen to Rhapsody's video so much, it's crazy. And I'm gonna say we, but I don't mean me. We aren't buying the conscious sisters, the Jean Greys, the Rhapsodies, those that are out there kicking the positive. People going, nah, turn that off, because they would much rather shake their butts, shake their asses in the club and in their car, like bumping it down. So, I mean, it's out there. People just ignoring it because that, we got to change that program.
Why are they ignoring it though? I feel
I
like
can't say that they're ignoring it necessarily though, because last week I put up a post and it was talking about music and all of this other stuff, and you had to select a number, and one of the numbers that was selected on mine, and I had to come back and give them like a song, and I decided I was gonna give them a list of songs, was positive music. What I like to do, because I know that there are a number of Black, female hip hop artists out there, I decided, okay, you want positive music? I can give the number one person I always like to put. I'm sorry, I'm a huge Ciroc fan. I'm gonna put Ciroc at the top of my list every single time, as far as MCs, female MCs, along with my Moo Freshes and Rhapsodies, and so there's a host of them out here. It's about exposure though. What they're going to do is they're going to put the ones that are selling their bodies in the forefront, because they don't want us to get that knowledge. When I sent the list over to one of my friends, it's just like, you literally have to process what it is that Ciroc is literally putting out there. She giving you history lessons for you to get to know yourself and things that have happened in the past. There are a number of female MCs that are out there that are doing it. We're just not exposed like that.
Yeah. I mean, like Rhapsody's last CD, she named every song after a powerful woman.
Oh, yeah. You know what's crazy? I need to do my research on these people, because I only know of the names I just heard. I only know Rhapsody.
Man, when you start listening to these women out here, you're gonna be like, wow. You're gonna wonder how it's not getting played on the radio, which is a whole nother issue.
Well, I know
even R&B. What happened to R&B?
Hell yeah. I made a comment.
No more lovers. Like, come on now.
The rappers are singing and the singers are rapping.
I made a comment like 8 years ago. R&B ain't not a style. It's getting dusty in your record store, because we ain't buying it. Everybody want to hear, and no disrespect to Luda or Usher, everybody want to hear Friends and Lovers. I didn't grow up on that. I grew up on slow songs where you literally had to know how to slow dance. I don't want a fast grind slow. But that's
you know why this is dusting off? Because people don't know how to love anymore. People don't know what love really looks like. How can you create music that's R&B if you don't know how to properly love yourself and then love yourself enough to love somebody else? You can't create R&B, because that's what R&B is.
And people don't know how to dance no more.
Let me ask y'all a question, and I'm glad y'all brought that up, because I've been thinking about it for a second. So, based on the music that's made nowadays, and it's obviously like a disconnect between the Black woman and the Black man. Is that caused by the music that's made today? Or is that a result of is the disconnect a result, the music a result of the disconnect between Black men and Black women?
The music is definitely a result.
The music is an after fact.
Yeah, because like you got TV commercials. You will see a dad and a dad, a mom and a mom, and that ain't no disrespect to that, but I'm just saying I didn't come like that was like forbidden. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit was forbidden on TV, but now it's kind of the norm. It's even in cartoons. You know what I'm saying? They try to, like, once again, selective programming.
Yeah. And I'll take it back to the clubs. Like I say, I grew up where you had to know how to dance. You can't dance to any song in the club that ain't a line dance type of song. You can't dance to Little Dirt. you can't dance to Cardi B. You got to wait till they start playing Cha-Cha Slide and 20 minutes of line dancing songs to dance. And even then, you're not dancing with a girl. You're dancing in a line. So the breakdown happens with the relationships, and it trickled into the music. But all of us, and I don't know, we come together in our social settings, in our partying. Growing up, music was always in our background. You know, we watched our grandparents dance in the house. We watched those of us who had two parents. We watched our parents dance in the house. When you went to the old school parties, you watched the adults intermingle with music. Nowadays, you can't intermingle with music because the music is bringing that, and I F this, because I see my man got his daughter in the room too. You see him F that girl over there, or F that N-word over there, and the music is ripping us so far apart. But we already starting at home because we ain't bringing that love at home. We so content to fight each other at home that if I'm angry and I'm about to take it in the booth, I'm gonna be like, yo, Squalla, plug that joint. Yo, my baby's mama ain't, and I'm just gonna go in on her because me and her just had an argument at the crib. But if she loving me right and I go in the booth, she gonna get I need love. You know what I mean? So I think, Smooth making great points about it. It's starting at the house and it's trickling to the music.
So I feel the opposite. I feel opposite of y'all. I feel like the music itself has been programming us to have a disconnect between the black man and the black woman. For my example, I even take it back to my parents' music, where they constantly talk about creeping on their wife or their husband. They constantly talk about being unfaithful, infidelity. That's one. Then you have, it goes to music where the rappers was like, they always want to mess with somebody else's girl. They want to take this person girl. They want to take that person girl. And now you have the woman, they don't want a nigga unless he rich. They don't want, unless he can buy them everything. So it's like, that's my take on that. That's how I feel, like what I see.
I'm torn between the two because I realized, like you mentioned before, generations ago, we had the Luther Vandross, we had the Diana Ross, we had, different things like that. And the music has changed. So the effects that the music, the household, and the relationship, a part of me wants to say that these households have created this music, like you said. But I do understand the other side as well. So I'm torn to agree with both because I can relate to both.
I agree with that. I just wish that we truly understood why, like, there has been just this humongous war on hip hop, because they don't want the black woman and the black man to be together. It boils down to economics, really, and power. You know what I mean? I have these discussions all the time, but that was a conversation that I was having with a friend, because he was talking about, what is it? White supremacy, and I was like, we have to reframe that as really black power economically. Music is our language. Music is our money. When you think about language, we're able to converse and mix and mingle with some of whomever. Music is the thing that really is the glue. It's sort of like a spider web. You know what I mean? Music is our giant web. If they attack the web, they use the same tactics in every single way in our community, but we're not seeing it. If you can destroy the nucleus of a family, you know what I mean? That's exactly what they're doing. And they're just utilizing music as a tool in order to tear us apart. And it's unfortunate.
I don't disagree with that. I think I agree. I mean, you're right. There is no genre on this planet. Think about it. Hip hop has been around. What we call hip hop today has been around for 50 years. Mm-hmm. It has, and I'm going to use this word because I love saying it this way, it has infected every aspect of human life. From what we buy, what we drive, how we read, how we think. Hip hop has become the number one seller of everything on this planet. If it's not rapping, it's a rapper's voice. If it's not a rapper's voice, it's a hip hop beat. If it's not a hip hop beat, it's graffiti in the background. It's hip hop dancing. It's something about hip hop that has managed to be everywhere on this planet in 50 years. Nothing has managed to change lives this much since electricity and the smartphone. Those are the only two things that have changed life more than hip hop.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm Love. I'm new. Sorry, I'm just meeting everybody. So I'm just really coming in. But I agree honestly with what everybody is saying, but I don't want to get political or too political on it. But same thing, like when the black man himself felt bigger, it was bigger music, right? So if you kill the black man's spirit, then you kill the household. So that's what happened. The government, our leadership took upon itself. This is where, I don't mean to cuss, but fuck the police. When NWA was on top of the world, you see what I'm saying? Black people were on top of the world. So that love music felt like love music. You see what I'm saying? Because we love each other. Because we were preaching that fuck everybody else, it's about black people. But once you killed the black man's spirit, he brought that back to his household. So he killed a woman's spirit. Then you got the woman killing the kid's spirit. So then you got this generation that's listening to that music where they're like, fuck this, it's about money, it's about that, fuck the family, fuck the da-da-da-da-da. And you got that generation of kids that generation of kids, you see what I'm saying, that's affected by the breakage of the umbrella. You got God at the top, the man is the umbrella, you got the woman, and then you got the kids. If you break it from the top, it trickles down. The kids have nothing to listen to but the music, because what else are they seeing? So if the music is preaching that the money is important, fuck the bitches, fuck this, fuck that, get the cars, get the money, get this, get that, because that's how you feel on top, then that's where the money comes in at. That's where money becomes more important. It's not about love. It's not about building a foundation and making that something whole. It's not about that anymore. So I agree with what everybody was saying, but everything is a trickled effect. It started somewhere, and when the government was able to break black music, and it didn't start with NWA, they silenced Bob Marley, they silenced Marvin Gaye. You see what I'm saying? It's been there, and if you can break that, I'm talking. Please be quiet. If you can silence that, what else do we have to listen to but the negative music? There is no more positive music, because what do we have positive? They took it. And instead of us dwelling off of what we do have and capitalizing off of that and rebuilding where we know what's more important, we got those more influential people now. You see what I'm saying? That our kids are paying more attention to. They not listening to the family because they like, mom, fuck what you talking about, dad, fuck what you talking about. You see what I'm saying? Because shit, Young Savage said it's about the money. You feel me? And Cardi B said, shake that ass for the ones. You see what it's like, you gotta see where it comes from, and you gotta really be mindful of the fact that we don't run this. There is somebody over us. And I don't want to get into too much of it, but if y'all know about Kanye West, you understand the infiltration of the white system to bring your black people back to where they belong. And that's necessary. It's very, very necessary. And I don't really think people understand that. But yeah, that's my.
Where is it do black people belong?
Where is it black people belong?
And she said bring it back to where black people belong. And I'm trying to figure.
Oh, okay. So when I say back to where we belong, I mean when we were what was idolized.
Okay.
Like y'all don't understand. They wanted to be us. They took us because they couldn't do what we do. They needed to this is what slavery was about. It's about studying black people. putting them in the lowest environment and see if they actually thrive to that. And we did. And they want to know how. They really want to know how. And the only way they can do that is by breaking us back down and making us get to a point where we don't got nowhere else to go but up.
So are you?
They make us thrive in our lower environment so that they can see how to do what we do. This is where that cultural appropriation comes from.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that the Black trauma in America, whether it be from a person who is middle class, working class, a poor person, or maybe even a rich person, like you mentioned Kanye West going through trauma, do you believe that the Black trauma on all levels is caused by, what do they call it, the corporation industry and institutionalized trauma, I guess, if you want to call it that?
It play a part. I feel like it play a major part, and the PTSD from slave. We still a lot of us still move as if we still slaves. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people mentality, like crabs in the bucket mentality. Like that shit is real. Like,
and do y'all see, and that's why Kanye West said slavery is a choice.
Hey.
It is. If you enslaved in a mind, anybody can take you over, bro. Anybody. Not just a white person, a Mexican, a Korean. If you not where you need to be in here, anybody can tell you anything, and that's how you get brainwashed.
And at the same time, a lot of people don't recognize what is actually passed down through DNA. So let's just say my ancestry has gone through slavery, all of this mental abuse that we go through on a regular basis, but I decide that I want to heal. You're literally healing your DNA. So where your child does not have to go through the same. If I haven't had a child yet, they don't have to go through the same thing and deal with all of the emotional stuff that's passed down. They don't have to deal with it anymore. That's why we're encouraging people, go ahead and heal so your children don't have to deal with all of the past issues that you have. But we don't understand how deep. Of course, they're taking all of this stuff out of schools. They don't want us to listen to it in the music because the music used to teach us these things. The music used to tell us all of these things. The Earth, Wind, and Fire, all of them used to tell us these things. So we have to change the music because it was our mode of telling things. It wasn't, the Negro spirituals used to tell us how to move and do different things. We were still doing it in music for years. So yes, we're going to go ahead and change because we know that's their main mode of transportation in order to get the information out. Why wouldn't we? You know what I mean? But we have to understand how things work. And they've never changed the way that they come at us. And that's what blows my mind. It's like watching the same chess move over and over again in different areas. It's the same
and still
thing.
Losing.
And still losing.
So I'm ready to play.
Recognizing we don't want to listen to anybody else.
I'm ready to play devil's advocate. So if we as Black people are aware of this, why are we still falling for the same tricks? Because people are scared. What's going to happen to my family if I say something, if I move in this kind of a way? But people don't understand their power. Like to go back to the whole white supremacy, white people don't have as much power as we think that they do.
Nope, not at all.
That's all within our mind. That's what they've exposed us to. And that's what it looks like on the outside. I like what Cat Williams said in that interview, what was the second interview? I forgot who he was being interviewed with. They know where the Messiah is. The second interview. Yeah, he got 3 interviews that's out there right now. Well, literally, and it reminds me of my nephew. He's only 2, but he will do a pump fake on you real quick. You thinking he looking right here, and really, he done already spotted what's over. They know where the Messiah is, or the people who can, lead us to wherever it is that we need. They always know. They just make it seem like they're the ones that are on top. We just have to know our power. We have to love ourselves in order to heal and get the information. You know what I mean? Know thyself. We have to get to that point to where we know ourselves, understand why it is that why would someone hate you that much? Like Cat Williams was saying, why do the white people just sit there and they're paying so much attention to us? They're studying us so much. All of this stuff with biogenetics and all of this, why do they care so much about how we work? Then you think about Henrietta Lacks. Why do they care? It's because they know. We just don't know.
Yeah, that's facts.
That's the thing. If Black people knew that Nas, y'all know, I know I can, I know I can. Have y'all listened to the lyrics?
Yes.
We were kings and queens and pharaohs, and they tried to make it seem like we were the slaves, and nah, we were both. We were both. Like, it was us before it was ever y'all. But like you said, if we feel like we low and they make us feel like we low, they take our money, they pay us bullshit, and we take it. Like, that's where the whole like black business thing comes from. But
see, everybody vision that. Everybody
I'm not
vision
gonna lie
that
to
that
y'all.
big.
I have some right things with. I can say some of our people have done me dirty. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But I love my Black people. The more we do that, the more we stay on top, the more we conduct businesses and storm the places that they work that they think we can't come and work. We got to do that. We got to become those. We got to preach to the generation that we're raising. The kids, I got 2 boys right here and 2 girls. Like, we got to preach to them that outside of what you're hearing, I'm not broken. You're not gonna see me breaking in around here. You see what I'm saying? So outside of what you're hearing on that music, you need to know you can be a NASA scientist just like your white counterparts, and you can run for office and you can do all these things because they need to get there. If they don't get there, we don't get there.
Yeah, they and you know what's crazy? It ain't looking like they trying to get there. Not right now, anyway. Ain't nobody seem like they really trying to get there. We running out of teachers. We running out of the stuff that matter. Ain't no, how many people do y'all know actively trying to be a teacher right now?
Shoot, I was a teacher and I stopped. Now, I'm
See
just
what I'm
being
saying?
honest. I taught for a year, and the politics with teaching, I rather teach in a different way, and that's what I did afterwards. I couldn't teach in the school system, and I was in a charter school. I just couldn't do it. The politics were horrible, especially in the
And
Black
see,
community.
and things like that is where you go and you say, how can I start my own institution?
Right.
Right.
That's
So
what I
that
was
you
gonna get
open
at.
a school that teaches the way that you want these kids to be taught. And then you pop one up like they did KIP around here in DC. You build that institution for these kids because you know that those politics, those traditional politics, the white politics that they got on teaching isn't right.
Oh yeah, that's why I was running the after school program outside of the system. So
There
like
you go.
I was doing that, it's just like, oh, well, don't work this way. I'm about to go ahead and do this. I'm with
But
you
at
on
the
it.
same time, we need to support our brothers and sisters that's actually having faith and going out on faith. We can't just down them because it ain't work and last time somebody tried. We got to get past all that type bullshit.
Yes. I have a model that I personally use where I'm from. I may not support the individual, but I support the movement because I realize what it looks like cutting off our nose to spite our face. I don't like them. I'm not going to have dealings with them. Then you know nothing about what they bring to the table. Now you missing your protection. Now you missing your asset and anything else because of that individual. Sometimes, is the juice worth the squeeze? And look where we are because I don't like this person or their way of thinking or whatever else.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap it up with this question. Well, what's the first step do you think as a whole, as a Black people in America? Very first step that we can start to do as individuals to kind of heal the traumas that our children are going through today, help them get through what they're going through. Because truth be told, we can preach what we're preaching, but at the end of the day, what's more appealing right now to the youth is the other. So what's more appealing is the money, the drugs, and the sex. So how can we make the more positive side more appealing to them?
We gotta show them. We gotta show them what it look like.
I would say I have learned, and we talked about it a little bit. Find a need, fill a void, right? You find these kids, whatever they're doing, whatever they are good at, and show them that you can do this on this side and make this much money, being positive, being above water, and not having to look behind your back. Show them you can be a graphics designer, you can be a refrigerator repairman, you can be a photographer or a dancer, but that there is a way, and putting them in those positions where they are of leadership, where they have a chance and exposure, and supporting them. Then they see, then they'll volunteer and they'll move forward accordingly. And there goes that generation moving in a whole different direction. We have to give a little bit, bend a little bit.
And that's the thing. Nobody wants to really give to the youth because they're looking at them like they're being
their problem.
Miscreants for real. You know what I'm saying? They're looking at them like they just out here acting out, so we're not gonna give them this.
They're not listening.
And they're trying to use it as a punishment tactic, but it's hurting the entire society.
Yeah.
So you would have to, like you said, give a little bit. You would have to create those programs where you're giving these kids something to do on a regular basis and showing them what's cooler. Like, okay, if you think you like selling drugs, huh? Okay, all right. So that means you like biology because you in the plants and you this and that, right? Okay, so why don't you think about this? Like you gotta take the preaching part out, and that's why it's the issue. They don't want to hear that. I got teenagers, 14, it's teenage stepkids, 14, 16, 17, getting ready to be 18. They don't want to hear you sit them down and say, hey, go to school. School is great. They don't want to hear that. We didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
We need you. They want you to talk to them like you understand that they going through something. These kids have been locked away for 2 years. We never had to deal with that. You got to understand what this generation has and is dealing with. Some kids were stuck in an environment during COVID that was already traumatizing. School was their getaway. You understand what I'm saying? So some kids were stuck there. And so now guess what? They stuck there still. They're still there. So we got to speak to the kids as if we know that they've been through something and we're trying to listen to what they need. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what they want. Stop trying to tell them or give them some shit they don't want or need. You gotta appeal. It's the same thing if you running a business and you creating a service. You gotta appeal to your audience. These kids don't want to hear preaching. If they did, they would go to church. They don't. They don't do Sunday school. They don't do none of that. If they wanted to hear it, they wouldn't. You got a select few. If you had a lecture class right now, you'd probably have 5 out of 50. Because they don't want to hear that. They want to hear the real. And that's what they think this music is telling them. The real. They don't know that half of these niggas ain't gone through none of what they talking about.
The music.
They don't know that.
Nothing.
So you got to get down to the level of who you trying to appeal to and figure out what it is that they need as individuals, put it together, and you got what they need for the whole.
I think Muff is right. But the issue is people don't want to meet them where they are. And sometimes people don't want to meet them where they are because then they had to be reminded where they were. And then that's a whole nother battle. If you're able to meet the kid where they are and not be judgmental and just give them the love, usually the love is what gets them. You know what I mean? Just because it's just like you're willing to be right here with me. You don't know me. You know what I mean? And you're not judging me. It's the love. It's a lot of times it's the love. I used to work with Eckerd Youth Alternatives out in the middle of the woods, like I was in Gilligan's Island, somewhere with a group of. I had 15 boys I was working with, me and my co-lead. It was a crazy experience. We had kids that were there because of drugs, breaking into people's houses, breaking and entering and all kinds of stuff. But what really got to them was we weren't judgmental. Then we were willing to be out in the woods with them for 7 days straight. We had to shower in like the most bootleg showers, but it was the love and our willingness to be like, all right. So Muff, you're absolutely correct. okay, if you're selling this means that you're an entrepreneur. We had this one kid. Oh my gosh, I wish I just wanted to hug him, but he was brilliant. You know what I mean? A lot of times they label our kids as ADHD and all of this other stuff, but if you're paying attention, they're bored in school. There was a situation with this kid. He was literally getting in trouble outside of our program because he was bored in school. He was well above, what they were teaching in school. So I sat there just having conversation with them. And because I'm low-key ADHD, I understood what the kid was going through. And it's just like, you already know this stuff, right? So he was going back and forth with the teachers. And these teachers, some of them, they're not properly equipped to work with our kids. And so I taught him a little trick. She's being rude and disrespectful to you because you're disrupting her class. So I'm gonna teach you how to treat people who are being rude to you. Just give her a little bit of love. I said I do that with everybody, and it makes them so upset. I like pissing people off by being loving on them, even if they hate it. It just because it's like, why are you giving me so much love? So one day I was in class, and he literally started doing it. I'm like, oh, this is about to be fascinating. This is about to be entertaining. And so the more that he continued to do it, he saw that it was making her upset and it was making him happy. But what ended up happening was she had a conversation with him. And what they ended up having to do was they had to create a whole curriculum for this kid. This teacher that he hated and was pissing off, she started to love him. And then she realized why he was disrupting. The reason why I was so excited that he went ahead, because that was literally my little social experiment for the teachers. It taught them, stop listening to what the state is telling you as a teacher when you're getting trained. Pay attention to the students that you have inside your class, and you recognize all of these kids, their behavior is just a symptom of something that's deeper. You need to look deeper. And after that, man, all of my, because I had 15 boys, all of them, they were able to leave the program, but it's the changing of their mind. We just have to change the perception of these kids, and we have to change our own minds. And he had to realize how brilliant he was. It's not that people don't like you. You kind of causing chaos because you're bored. Literally, use your language, use your words, and tell people how you feel and what you have going on. And so that's something else that we have to work with our kids too. You know what I mean? Use your words.
It's okay to speak. Yeah.
It's okay to speak. You're not dumb. You're incredibly brilliant. People aren't going to see things the way that you do. And then once we teach our kids how our melanin works too, man, that's a whole nother ball game right there. That's a whole nother ball game, because then our kids will realize you're not stupid. You're not hyperactive. You just need to figure out how to channel your energy, how to utilize the energy that's coming from your melanin. And then that's a whole nother ball game for our kids.
Don't cut. That's not crayons. That's for chalk.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I'm gonna wrap it up. And we said a lot of good stuff here today. I appreciate all of y'all for coming on. And if y'all can introduce yourself again, say where y'all can find y'all social media, whatever y'all want to promote, go for it.
My name is Amber Basaurus. I'm in Ohio. You can find me on Facebook at Confident Lady with the I. Spreading love and asking those much needed questions.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. My name is Toya Dawkins. You can find me on all socials, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you my Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at I_am_nudity. Yeah, hit me up.
Got it.
All right, my name Smooth. You can find me at J Smooth on Facebook. God willing _boss status on Instagram. Boss Status Worldwide on Instagram. Real Conversations Podcast on Instagram. And y'all can also go purchase my book right now on Amazon, Manifest Your Reality. It's a good book, self-help type of book. And I appreciate you. I love to come back on the show.
Oh, definitely. And Muff.
All right, everybody. I'm Muff. This is my first time doing this, but I can't wait to talk to y'all again. You can find me on Instagram at big2x_Muff.
All right, and that's a wrap. Thank y'all again for coming on.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you.
One love.
Y'all be safe.
You too.
Thank you.